time to tune in. Now another Sports Center, it's a movement.
Boom. Do you agree with Joe Burrow's comments about running up the score?
I agree, because that team specifically, and me and Ike had this conversation earlier in the year with the Ravens, right? Their comments and how they kind of run stuff, they don't care. So like they ran it up on the Bengals last year. That's gonna cut just like this year, the Cowboys with the Washington football team
and the Eagles.
And the Eagles. So a solid team like that. I think Washington next year is going to have their revenge against the Cowboys in one of them games, just like the Bengals this year kept running up the score. I mean, Joey Burrow had 525 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, and like T. Higgins had almost 200 yards. Jamar Chase had 125. Tyler Boyd had a 68-yard bomb. Like they were playing a 10-year-old on Madden, just running verticals the whole game. They went off. You know what I'm saying? Like Joe Mix only has 65 yards. That lets you know how much they expose that secondary. The Ravens have had a tough year, but shoot, if you don't want them to score, stop them.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to these rivalry games, man, divisional rivalries, man, F the other team. All right, it's like you said, we went into Dallas last year, embarrassed them boys on Thanksgiving, and they were like never again, and they did to us, and we had to sit there and take it. And Ravens, you know what I'm saying? I was talking with my brother Paul, shout out to Paul Burt, diehard Ravens fan, and he was on the same energy. Like, yeah, I mean, we kind of did that to them the last few meetings. So I mean, I guess it was our time. It's like, yeah, when you put that energy out, you got to defend against it at some point because it's coming back. Yeah, people absolutely. No division rivals forget anything in the NFL
ever.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with him 100%. Joe Burrow, the comment that he made, he said, "This is the NFL. This isn't Pee Wee."
Yep.
And they didn't feel bad the previous year running up on it, and I 1,000% agree with him. And that kind of leads to another talking point that we can have while we're having this one is in the NFL, in the pros, period. Like F sportsmanship. I don't want to hear nothing about sportsmanship. I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to hear anything about it. These guys are making hundreds of millions of dollars, and both sides are getting paid. 11 men on the defense, 11 men on the offense. Both of them are getting paid to do a job. If you have a problem with somebody running up the score on you, then all that money that you're being compensated to stop them, you might want to actually try doing your job. And this has been a long time coming. I don't feel sorry for that. Add to the fact that this is a division rival. Absolutely run the score up. I think more teams should continue to run the score up against anybody. If you're beating the brakes off of them, keep beating the brakes off of them, because we've seen it plenty of times where teams come up off the gas and they give, a second win to their opponents, and these guys end up coming back and making the game more interesting than it should be, or coming back and winning. If you have your foot on their neck, go ahead and crush it and let's be done with it.
Yeah.
But
don't worry about the energy that's going to come back to you. That energy should be reciprocated, period. You should absolutely, if you're lining up from outside another person, your goal should be to destroy them on that football field. I'm sorry. What are we here for?
And last thing on this is, like, in my mind, I think it's cool because first tiebreaker's record, right? Strength of schedule second, and then point scored is third. So like they're running up the score, like the Cowboys are up to score, some of these teams, that could be a tiebreaker, especially how tight the AFC is. That makes it different. So I think it makes sense to do, because they could have missed the playoffs, potentially trying to be nice.
Yeah. And this generation is different. And hear me out. So number one, I agree with it. I agree with running up the score, because sometimes you play conservative and you can still get injured too, right? Mm-hmm. But also, we grew up with the video game, and this video game is called Madden Football. And let me say that when you playing against the computer, it's like it's in these young kids' minds already. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to hang 60. You know what I mean? I'm about to hang 60 today. Oh yeah, y'all beat me last time. Woo! I got something planned for y'all. So we got this generation of players who they grew up. You know what I mean? Even if they were born in the year 1999, they grew up with Madden. I'm not talking about the crappy Madden from the 90s where everybody looked like blocks. Like they grew up, Madden 05, Madden 2010, Madden 15, all that, right? So they grew up in that, and then now they're playing the game at the highest level. So when you face off against the Baltimore Ravens and they've been beating the brakes off you for years and years and years, and you get a stud like Joe Burrow in the draft, T. Higgins in the draft, man, you got your old college whiteout out there as well too. Run that up all day. Run it up.
And to anybody who disagrees with that, and that, you know, whoever wants to make the obligatory comment about sportsmanship down in the comment section or wherever, I'm gonna say this to you, is that in real life, there is no such thing as sportsmanship. I'm all for it in the pee-wees, when you guys are in high school, when you guys are in middle school playing in those rec leagues. I'm all for sportsmanship because I do think that you need to learn how to lose graciously. You need to learn how to be benevolent. But in the real life, and I'm not talking about just in sports, I'm talking about anything. If you're good at something and you're being paid to do it professionally, you should try to run up the score as much as possible, because your competition is trying to do the same thing to you. If this is Microsoft versus Apple, do you think that Microsoft is going to bow out because they're just so far in the lead to Apple and what they're doing to computer sales? No, they're back at the drawing board right now trying to figure out how they can continue to keep their foot on these guys' neck and continue to embarrass them and keep winning. That's what life is, man. It's about being better than the next person by any means necessary. And if you guys want to have the bleeding hearts and help all these people, that's your business. But I'm in the business of winning, because for me, life is not fun when I'm losing. Maybe it is for you guys. It's not for me. I say crush them until they're not a threat anymore.
Always ask yourself, would the next guy do the same thing for me?
The answer will be no.
You know.
Also, what would Ray Lewis do?
Pray on it.
I tell you what, he would have probably tackled Joe Burrow yesterday. That's what he probably would have done.
Depends what decade it is. If it's mid-90s,
all I'm saying is, bro,
get the strap.
If it's
Joe,
2015, you know, maybe he might pray with you.
He'll pray with you. He'll pray with you
about.
after he breaks you, bro. The thing that I was most impressed about yesterday in Joe Burrow's performance, if you guys watch any of those highlights, watch how he's moving around in the pocket. Like that ACL is no concern for him. His legs, he's all the way healed. I literally watched him bunny hop up into the pocket, then out, set the feet and throw. It's insane. Like he is in his bag. He's in his element. I hope we get to see this version of Joe Burrow for years to come, because he's just fun to watch, regardless of whether you're a fan of another team, right? He's one of these electrifying guys that you just love to see play on Sundays.
Turn 100 for the touchdown, King Crown, gain inside, leading your town, hit you faster than the sound, bad boy, throw it down, yeah, I'm ill, not my will, don't cop a fill the house, listen to the roaring crowd, drop a light, calm it down, Heisman, all the haters mouth, superhero hit them, wow, packing more action than bing, boom, bam, pow, touchdown for the win, we live, subscribe right now.